Eastham Conservation Commission will hold a hybrid public meeting on Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, MGL Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, Open Meeting Law, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 155 of the Code of the Town of Eastham, Eastham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. This meeting will be broadcast on Public Access Channel 8 and is available on the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Please remain mute unless it is your turn to speak, and please let the chair know if you will be recording the meeting. I'm going to take attendance. Janet Benjamins.
Present, but Karen, I'm having difficulty hearing you, and it's probably me, but
No, it's not you, it's me. My earpods turned off. Can you hear me now?
Oh, much better. Thank you.
Okay, I apologize for that. It does that occasionally. Okay, where was I? Attendance. Janet Benjamin.
Here.
Joanne Cossett. Joanne?
Can you not hear me?
I did not hear you. I think you were mute.
Uh-oh.
You're not mute now. I can hear you.
Okay, here. Sounds like we're going to have some gremlins
Greg
tonight.
Douglas?
Here.
I hope not. Mike Harnett? Mike?
He's at the room, right?
He was, yeah, I thought Mike was in the room. Hey, Wayne, is Mike in the room? Alex, is Mike in the room? Okay, no Mike for the moment. Chuck Wagner?
Here.
And Karen Stuss, I am here. Okay, before we start, I do want to make a couple of announcements. The Conservation Commission will be holding a public hearing on June 10th at 5:30 p.m. to consider proposed saltwater dock regulations and a few minor changes to the freshwater dock regulations. Copies of the regulations can be found on the conservation website, and we'll take public comments, written public comments until noon on the June 9th, and otherwise people can comment at the public hearing. And I also want to mention that the Eastham will be holding a strategic planning public information session on May 22nd from 4 to 7 at the library. That will be 2 sessions, one at 4 and one at 5:30. Okay, and now to the agenda. So first, I'm asking if there are any public comments not related to anything on the agenda. If anybody wants to speak. Okay. And then our agenda says there will be an eelgrass presentation from the Massachusetts DMF, and that is getting postponed until another time. And then 20 Beach Road update. I think Alex? Okay. I think Alex wanted to talk about that. Is out.
Can you hear me?
Is he?
Can you hear me, Karen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just barely.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Crawford Land Management was planning on joining us tonight to provide the commission an update on the progress and maintenance of that project.
Okay, and I see Nick Crawford is here.
Yep. Yeah, hi everyone. Nick Crawford from Crawford Land Management. So I'm just here. We were asked to give an update. So this past February and early March, we finished the installation out there and did it in its entirety. Everything was looking good. And then on April, it was either March 31st or April 1st was the highest high tide of the spring. And so the sand nourishment that was on the seaward side of the installation was uh, return to the beach. Um, so we nourished it again on April 15th, or well, just before April 15th, because that was the deadline for access at Boat Meadow Landing. So we tried to do it as close to April 15th as we could, knowing that the tides were getting less and less after that. And we did that. Um, we had an astronomical high tide and high winds uh, kind of coincide with each other after that, and we lost most of the sand again. So we, after that, we asked if for the summer season, since we weren't allowed to use the Boat Meadow parking lot anymore, we nourished the installation with kind of the minimum amount to cover the coir components of the installation so that the sun wasn't beating down on them all summer. And we did that, I believe, last week, last Monday. That was only about 20 tons or 1.5 tons per yard. It was about 15 yards of sand that it took to just cover up the envelopes and the coir rolls themselves, as opposed to creating the exact slope that's shown on the plans that covers that has more than just what covers the installation. Um, all in all, throughout the part of the winter that it was installed, I mean, the installation itself is standing tall. You know, we always knew that the nourishment on the front side would be sacrificial. Um, you know, to what degree would depend on Mother Nature and the tides and the wind and the moon. Um, but uh, am I allowed to share my screen?
Yeah, Wayne, can you let Nick share?
I just have to hit the button, right?
Well, he has to make you a co-host first.
It looks like I
Wait.
can.
Okay, try
Let me
it.
try.
I'm
Oh, here we
sorry,
go.
what name is this under? Nick?
Nick Crawford.
Okay, thanks.
Just
a minute. There we go.
trying.
So accept becoming a co-host, Nick, and then you're able to share.
Okay. Hold on, I
And
think
you
I'm
should be
already
good now.
sharing. All right, can you see?
No, you should try it again now because Wayne just set you up as a co-host.
Okay, let me try it again. Share. Um, just my oh yeah, entire screen. Share. There we go. Okay. So,
We
can
see
you
your
see?
Google. Oh, we see it
y-
something now.
Okay, good. So here's some pictures just from last Friday. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
So here is obviously the sturdy drift fence component. Um, the envelopes are here. That's the biggest or tallest part of the installation. And the coir rolls are underneath here, protecting the face of this coastal bank. Here's one from the other end that shows the kind of the minimal amount of sand that would be required, since we did it by hand, um, to cover the coir components of the project. Here's the high tide mark from at least recently, last Friday. This would have been high tide. So, you know, hopefully with a little bit of luck, you know, we have the beach grass planted on top of the whole coir installation here. Um, we had some of it planted before other parts. You can see the backside of this is greener than the top part, and that was partially because we were waiting to finish nourishment. Um, so this beach grass actually probably went in 3 weeks before the beach grass on top. So it's just interesting to see how much greener it is. Um, here's the natural dune. So we're looking to, the leading edge of the envelope is kind of right here. And we're looking to establish, the backside of this dune with American beach grass, in hopes that it will continue to establish and spread over the envelopes over time. Um, and, all in all, the sacrificial sand did what it was supposed to do. I would say, can you see my cursor?
Yeah, you're down near the water's edge, more or
Oh,
less.
okay, yeah. So, um, just a anecdote from working out there. When we kind of started the project, I would say that um, the flats came much closer to the beach or much closer to the residents. And with all the work that we've done out there, all the sacrificial nourishment that we've done, um, the beach is kind of built out towards the flats. So the slope of the beach has increased, thus kind of pushing the high tide mark out a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. Um, and so this is kind of the state of the project at the moment as of last Friday. Um, while we were installing the coir fiber rolls right here, um, during that process, we got some nasty weather while we were working on it, and there was some scour all the way from the end of our installation all the way back to the parking lot. That occurred while we were working on the project. So I'm confident in saying that our installation has stabilized uh, the leading edge of this coastal bank, built out the beach, and protected the dwelling and some of its components. I know that the post for this side of the deck, when we started the job, the concrete footing had fallen out from underneath it when we had started it. So at least at this period in time, we've stabilized that and have prevented further damage to that part of the structure at least. And I mean that's kind of it. I expect that we might be back, sometime in the fall, uh, in order to cover it potentially if this sacrificial sand is swept away. We may be back in the fall to cover it up before the winter season. To what degree that is, I can't say. Hopefully the sturdy drift fence knocks some of the sand out of the air, and the sand will kind of naturally accumulate where it gets knocked down out of the air. So hopefully this builds over the summer from the sand blowing off the flats, and we end up with more sand than we have now going into next winter. And that's kind of the anecdotal information and the work that we've done so far out there that I have to update you with. And I'll stop sharing. Oh, there it is.
Uh, Can I just ask for you, and I don't remember exactly what we permitted. I didn't have a moment to look at it before tonight, but were there supposed to be beach grass planted over the choir rolls as well?
There was.
And I think there was before it washed out in one of the earlier times because somebody had posted
Correct.
pictures on Facebook.
We knew that we were going to nourish as close to April 15th as we could. So we waited on putting any of the beach grass in on the seaward side of the installation till after April 15th, and it still got swept away. And then by the time what was last Monday, the 7th-ish, the 6th or the 7th,
The fifth,
the 5th, it's too late to plant bare root American beach grass, and it's too soon to plant rooted cuttings because they're not rooted yet. So
Okay.
we did, but it's gone.
and then could you just talk about the scour for a minute? Because I know when we permitted this, we had been concerned about end scour.
hmm I don't.
And you're,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there was clearly erosion on uh, the fiber roll side of the installation, which would be either east or north. Um, but I don't, in my opinion, it's not anything that there was so much sacrificial nourishment over the installation that um, I don't believe it was end scour because it's evenly scoured from our installation to the parking lot. And if it was end scour, it would be more severe right next to our installation, and it's kind of evenly scoured out from the storms that we had under that coastal bank, about two-ish feet probably on average. So I'm confident that if our installation hadn't have been there, that would have happened to the property we're talking about, as well as where it already occurred.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Anybody? Okay. Thank you, Nick. Anything, Alex, anything from you?
Yeah, I know during the site visit, we were talking about potential irrigation of the beach grass on, would that have any benefit for the beach grass becoming rooted over the summer? Are you concerned about, the beach grass drying out?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the beach grass that's there right now, in theory, should be 100% fine since we put it in early enough. If we were to try and replace the beach grass on the seaward side of the installation, that part of the nourishment, that beach grass, if it went in as rooted plugs, would need to be irrigated.
Okay.
But honestly, bare root beach grass is by far the best. So I would wait until next spring to try and vegetate the leading edge of that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. Thank you, Nick. Oh, Hillary, go ahead.
I just wondered if you were out there after us, did you pick up the drift fence that was rolled up off of the property that was just sitting there?
Oh, was it in the pictures?
I don't know if it was in the pictures, but what I gather is the homeowner put it there to keep people off of it, and it had washed away and was sitting off of their property.
Okay. Honestly, I can't say 100% for sure because I wasn't there in person to do the nourishment by hand. So I can ask my foreman if they saw it there. If they saw it rolled up sitting to the side, they probably picked it up. I didn't see it in the pictures, so I assume they grabbed it, but I can ask them.
Okay, because we were out there last week, Wednesday
Okay.
or Thursday, and it was still sitting there. My other
Okay.
question was, where you had hand nourished, you had already begun losing sand by the day we were there, and I can't quite honestly remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday, and the rolls were exposed again. So I wondered, they should be covered.
Right. So the pictures that the pictures that I'm working with from last Friday on the 9th, when we went by there, everything was covered. So I don't know if maybe a teensy bit was exposed in one spot, but the substantial majority of the installation is covered.
All right, and perhaps it had changed since we were there. I'll go out and have another.
Potentially, yeah, we can go check too.
Yeah, I think we were out perhaps last Thursday, the 8th. I mean, we were out this morning as well for a site visit. We did notice a section of the rolled up sand drift fence, so there is still some on the property. So we would like that removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Anything else, Alex?
That's all I have.
Okay, Janet, you had your hand up?
It was about the fence and Alex answered it.
Okay. Okay,
We do
so,
have an abutter who would like to comment. Is that something we can?
I think we can allow 2 minutes for that.
Okay,
Are they,
you're right.
are they with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Annette Nickerson, 685 Bridge Road. And I just have a question.
So
The-
not in a butter.
No, not directly, a quarter of a mile away. But my question is related to that Nick, is it Nick Crawford?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, made about the tides that I think you were implying, I mean, I might be wrong, that the tides, the astronomical tides were unusual, but they're not, it was not unusual. I mean, that's just part of the normal tidal changes each month. So I just think this process will just keep going. And I think one of the issues, which I think was brought up in October, was the steepness of the slope, because I think even I think it was Brian McCormick's report had mentioned there was some question that they thought the proposed slope is steeper than would be needed there. I mean, it should have been not as steep. And I'm wondering if that's what's contributed to some of the issues with this just continual washing away of the sand and the planted grass.
Well, as far as the slope, we were confined with some of the regulations where we're not allowed, without a special permit, we're not allowed to do nourishment below mean high tide without a Chapter 91 license. So part of the reason the slope was the way it was proposed was because we were confined between working behind mean high water and not covering up the existing dune. And that kind of gave us the parameters to which we were able to nourish in and able to create the most shallow slope that we were able to. As far as the astronomical high tides, we're certainly aware that every spring and every winter on the equinox and the solstice, the tides get progressively more and more. This year, after April 15th, that just happened to coincide with like 45-mile-an-hour winds out of the northwest. So, the sand is always meant to be sacrificial. Over time, ideally, with all that sacrificial sand, like I mentioned, the beach area is kind of creeping towards the flats and away from the landward edge. So over time, that slope could become more shallow as we push the beach out with more and more nourishment. I don't know if that answers your questions, but that's why the slope was the way it was permitted, because we were working within the context of, we couldn't go past this line on the seaward side, we couldn't go past this line on the landward side. So that's kind of what it left us with. So that's what we were able to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
Mm-hmm. All right, have a nice night.
Okay, next we have request for determination of applicability filed by Patricia McDonald. Applicant proposes to replace the existing deck material, extend deck for new outdoor shower, install new set of stairs to deck with a bluestone landing, limb up existing cedar for shower, and relocate existing air conditioning unit at property located at 230 Goody Hallett Drive, map 20, parcel 021. And who's here to speak on this? Is that,
I'm Patricia McDonald. This is my husband, Tim Wells.
okay. Anything you'd like to share with us about the project?
We've been waiting for this hearing so that we can hopefully get permission to go ahead with getting the air conditioner moved, because that has to happen before the little extension to the deck can be built. Some of the Conservation Commission members were out this morning, along with Alex, so they saw the site and saw where the extension to the deck would be, and the little bit of movement that's going to happen with the air conditioning unit. I don't know if they had any questions, but they didn't seem to have any this morning.
Okay, I'm going to ask them. And if you were out at the site visit, we'll start with you. Any questions, comments? Greg, maybe?
Sure. I mean, it was a very straightforward project. It was merely an extension of the porch, of the deck, and then in putting up a rinsing station with a some type of and then moving the air conditioning unit over to the side. It just seemed to be a very straightforward, relatively small project, and it didn't appear to impact any vegetation. And they're going to put in a drainage system so that you don't have a water problem. So it seemed pretty straightforward to me.
Okay, Janet?
Those are exactly the words I was going to use. In addition, I did want to make a comment because I have been striving to become a residence that can put up a sign about being a pollinator pathway, and I haven't made it yet, but they have successfully. So I congratulate them on that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's one of my passions, is getting as many native plants as possible. So I had mentioned this morning, if anybody wants some extra native plants, I seem to be having them grow out of bounds at this point.
Well, that sounds lovely, actually, because then they're happy. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions from the commission? Alex, anything from you?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, so if we might have a motion for a positive 2B, negative 3, with the following conditions. 24-hour work notice to the Conservation Department, storage of materials on existing deck or in driveway, cutting of composite materials over a contained area or off-site.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second,
Okay, Janet,
yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck? I can't hear you, Chuck.
Yes.
Okay, and I am a yes. So you are done. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have a request for determination of applicability filed by the Beach Association, Inc. Applicant proposes to replace 5 wood rail caps, 1 rail cap support, 1 stairway stringer, 9 treads, and 18 tread blocks at property located between 215 Thumpertown Road and 25 Eastham Avenue, map 10, parcel 205 and 206. Somebody here to speak on this?
There we go. Good evening. My name is Rob Level. I'm a project manager at Cape Associates, and I filed this request on behalf of our customer, the owner of this set of stairs in question.
Okay. So let me ask if anybody from the commission who was out there today has any thoughts they want to share. Any questions? Janet?
I do have a question. I'd like to know who the members are of the Beach Association.
I don't have those readily available. I've been in contact with one trustee for that association. I don't have a full roster of all the trustees.
Do you have any names?
Phelan Coyle is the individual that I've been in contact with.
Pardon me?
Yes, Phelan Coyle is the name that I've been in contact with for the individual.
And can you spell that, please?
First name, Phelim, F-E-I-L-I-M. Last name, Coyle, C-O-Y-L-E.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions or comments about the work, Janet?
Well, my main concern isn't something that can't be a concern. There are 3 sets of stairs right there with the town of, the Thumper Town public stairway just beyond. But what they're requesting falls within our jurisdiction to approve.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission? Okay, otherwise this seems like very much a one-to-one replacement with a minimal impact. So if we might have a motion for a positive 2B and a negative 3 with the conditions of 24 hours notice to the Conservation Department, storage of materials outside of the resource area, cutting of composite materials over a contained area or offsite.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay. Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Chuck? Chuck,
Yes.
you're really hard to hear. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Joanne?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay.
Great,
All
thank you.
right. So, okay. Next up, we have a request for determination of applicability filed by David Coots. Applicant proposes construction of an addition, screen porch, and deck extension at property located at 225 Alston Avenue, map 11, parcel 020. And somebody going to speak on this?
Yes, good evening. Jason Ellis representing the Coots.
Okay.
So what they're proposing to do is they're proposing a 20 by 18 foot addition on the rear of the dwelling on the south side. They're also proposing a 9.5 by 10 foot screened in porch and then a 6 by 7.5 foot deck extension. The entirety of the deck extension is in the 100 foot. About half of the addition, it kind of cuts diagonally across the addition, is in the 100 foot. The screen porch is outside the 100 foot. We're proposing several dry wells also to accommodate the roof runoff for the existing house and the proposed addition. Property is pretty straightforward. All the staging for the construction would occur in the driveway area on the north side of the house outside the buffer zone. All the soil that would be removed for the excavation would be removed immediately out of the buffer zone. Any slump from the concrete and whatever would all be in a containment area outside the buffer zone. So there's only one piece of vegetation that would be removed. There's a non-native shrub, I think it's a yew, that's in the area where the proposed addition is. That's the only piece of vegetation that would be removed. So, and happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Okay. Any thought about replacing the vegetation?
I mean, we could put some more native vegetation in there. I mean, what's being removed is non-native, so it's a shrub that's pretty old, an evergreen shrub, but we could certainly add some blueberry or something like that around the foundation there if you want. So,
Okay. Janet?
I know it's a non-native shrub, but it is a good size and it looked very healthy. And I'm sure it provides some protection for wildlife, for birds especially. So I would appreciate it if you could put in something that's sort of similar to that, that could also provide wildlife protection. Thank you.
Any other comments from the commission? Okay. It does seem like a very low impact project. Overall, well back from the resources. So if we could have a motion to approve with a condition for some vegetation such as blueberry and with the special conditions for decks and sheds.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Janet,
yes.
and I am a yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have a request for determination of applicability filed by Campground Realty LLC. Applicant proposes installation of a new septic system and well, abandonment of an old well and septic system, removal of deck and construction of a three-season porch, construction of an addition, retaining wall, and adding fill for new parking at property located at 525 Campground Road, map 07, parcel 361. And the applicant is going to be withdrawing this project. So next we have continuation of after the fact administrative review filed by 150 Old State Highway Cottages LLC. Applicant proposes to install a fence at property located at 150 State Highway, map 20, parcel 114. And who's going to speak to that?
Good evening. This is Attorney Anthony Pontebianco on behalf of the applicant. I believe the applicant is also present in the room at this time. Mr. Vecchione, there he is. And we had asked for a continuance based on communications that Mr. Vecchione had, questions that he had on August 28th, I believe it was, to Justin Post to determine what the best course of action for the plan is for what we've talked about on numerous occasions, and to make sure that the plans are in compliance. I understand Mr. Post has not yet responded, and that Friday is his last day. I spoke or had communications with Alex this afternoon to confirm that. So we would ask, like we did before, for a continuation of this so that the plan can be submitted with the appropriate responses to make sure that it's in compliance with whomever's taking over for Mr. Post.
Okay, Eastham does not require from the building department a permit for a fence of this size. And in any case, jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission supersedes that in a wetland area.
In Eastham,
And
the building commissioner is
I am talking right now, sir.
Don't talk to me like that.
You interrupted
Don't
me.
talk
You
to me
didn't
like
get-
that. I have something to say.
You will wait your turn,
What's
sir.
wrong with that woman?
And you will wait your turn to be acknowledged. I am speaking and you do not interrupt the chair.
No, they're starting to argue about something else.
Anthony, take
Okay.
over, please.
So the building department does not have jurisdiction in this matter. We do. And we expected to have a plan today. Nothing was submitted. So I am going to propose to the commission that we issue an enforcement order for the removal of the fence by by May 19th. And that after that, on May 20th, if the fence is still there, that we issue a $100 fine each day until it's removed, as well as issuing a stop work order.
May I speak?
Yes.
Town of Eastham has a floodplain or a flood administrator. That person happens to be the commissioner. So you're not going to usurp my rights to talk to this person before you make a decision. If you want to make an enforcement order, we'll challenge it.
Mm-hmm. That is your right.
What I think, Chairman Strauss, what might be a better avenue, perhaps, is rather than vote on the enforcement order tonight, is to permit a withdrawal of the application that we provided, so that we can submit a confirmation that we'll have a plan by a date by. We've spoken to the fence company. The fence company came out there, and without confirmation from Justin Post before we actually had that work to be done that we had spoken about before, we wanted to make sure that it was done all in applicability of what the Conservation Commission had asked for and what the town has asked for. So there isn't a desire not to be thoughtful and considerate of what the Conservation Commission's roles and responsibilities are. It's certainly within that scope. But rather than have an enforcement action that has a 6-day turnaround window here, I think it might be appropriate for to either set a continuation deadline or to permit to withdraw. And we can have a deadline for which we have to provide a plan for and a response for. There isn't a lack of trying in this regards. It is doing everything possible in communicating with the town to make sure that every step is looked at, not just the Conservation Commission's.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fence was installed without a permit. This is now our third hearing on this matter. We asked you multiple times to submit a plan for the fence. We've given you the conditions for which we would approve a fence. And you keep coming back with nothing but complaining for us. And we've given you plenty of time. And I am talking again, sir. We've given you plenty of time to address this matter. If you withdraw the application, you'll still be in violation of a fence without a permit. And we still could issue an enforcement order to have the fence removed.
Anthony, let it go. We have no issue with this. I don't care what happens with that. Just let him make the decision, please.
If you want to come back later with a new permit to install a new fence, we would be happy to consider that.
No, we'll go to the DEP with a superseding order instead. Thank you.
Well, we're denying it under the bylaw, which means that you have, anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to ask the commission if they have any comments here.
Chairman Strauss, I think the proper procedure is, since there's, if I may, sorry to interrupt before you let the vote go. I think the proper procedure may be to ask for a vote, since there was a request to be made to continue, if it would be so kind. And that can be denied and move on to the next, which was a request to withdraw, and then a vote for enforcement. Just because those were requests made, I would ask that the procedure be followed that way.
Well, I'm going to get comments from the commission.
Yeah.
At this
Thank
point.
you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Joanne?
Okay, so I don't disagree with Attorney Panabianco. I hope I got that right.
Yes.
In terms of the order of procedure for what he suggested just now. I will say, it sounds like if we offer the benefit of the doubt that perhaps there was some misunderstanding about the steps that needed to happen, and noting also that it would be a quick turnaround time according to the applicant, I do feel like we're at the point for enforcement, but perhaps giving a little bit more time instead of 6 days, 2 weeks to effect removal of the fence would be reasonable to me in terms of trying to be compromising, offer a compromise. We are all members of this community, and so I would be okay with that, although I do agree after a number of opportunities, we are at the enforcement action point. So my only suggestion is maybe a little bit extra time than just the 6 days. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And anybody else? Hillary?
I would just add, I don't know that I agree with there being uncertainty about what was requested. Gary did file a public records request. We gave him the meeting minutes, we gave him the video link, and it was clear in all of those documents. So I guess I'm not sure the request was unclear.
Well, can I ask Hillary a question?
I'm not done speaking. And the email to Justin Post, the building commissioner, was dated April 28th. And we do have that available if the commission would like to see it.
Well, I'd like to ask you a question, Hillary.
Okay, you are recognized.
Okay, Hillary, do I do not have the right to ask the flood administrator of the town of Eastham to weigh in on this decision, since it has to do with a floodplain? Yes or no?
Hillary, you can answer that, or I can answer that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's generally not the process. The Conservation Commission has regulations and bylaws that they have jurisdiction over, and the floodplain manager has other regulations with which he is charged with following.
He's not just the manager, he's the administrator, so that's well within his purview. I also spoke to Mr. McKenna at Coastal Resources Management, and I just wanted to have extra input so that I'm not wasting time and money on a fence that doesn't require this level of scrutiny. If you want to say you have control over the fence, fine. You have control over the fence. I'm looking for options. There are options inside the floodplain bylaws that allow for breakaway fencing. How can I explore it if the man that is the flood administrator doesn't return the email? So you can't put it off on me saying that I'm trying to duck this or put it off and put it off. I'm looking for answers.
Yes, but this is the Conservation Commission and you're trying to permit a fence under our regulations, under our bylaw, under the Wetlands Protection Act. And that has nothing to do with the floodplain manager. And you put in a fence without a permit, and we've been trying to, and we've given you lots of time to comply with what is required here. And we're in the third week of it. And Hillary, you want to add to this?
Yeah, I just want to add one comment here. You have very competent counsel who understands regulations and bylaws and can walk you through this process, as well as a fence company who has probably installed fencing in conservation jurisdiction on Cape Cod. So I think waiting on a response from one individual might not be the best approach to move this forward.
Hillary wasn't one individual, it was two. So if you want to make a decision, go ahead and do it. We'll either abide by it or challenge it. Let's move on, please.
Okay. So we have a request to withdraw the application. And we'll take that up first. Would somebody like to make a motion for that? Or would somebody like to make a motion to accept the withdrawal of this application?
Karen, I'm not sure what that involves. I'm sorry.
To make a motion to accept the applicant's request to withdraw the filing. Anthony?
Yeah, not that I can make the motion, just to explain what I think it would entail and involve. The withdrawal would permit both parties here, one for us to submit a plan with it, and for you also, if you're not satisfied with the time frame of when we would submit a plan, for you to submit an enforcement order. The Conservation Commission, if they're unhappy with the time frame of it, can submit an enforcement order, and it doesn't have to come through this vote tonight to submit the enforcement order. It goes through the original letter that we had provided. It's a similar. Agent Alex can send out an enforcement order. So it can work in a dual track here. What the withdrawal would do is so that we don't have a negative vote that then becomes an appealable event. Rather, we have the opportunity to submit a plan, and the town also has the opportunity to issue an enforcement order if they so choose.
Thank you.
Could I ask Anthony a question?
Gary, I'd ask that you don't.
It's up to you. If your attorney doesn't want you to, or you want to anyway. Okay. All right. So the applicant has requested to withdraw the application. Therefore, we need a motion to accept the request to withdraw the application.
Karen, I would make a motion, we accept the request to withdraw the application with the understanding that we will take up the possible enforcement order quickly thereafter as a separate matter.
Second.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mike?
Yes. Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay. Now to discuss the question of what to do about the fence. I think we want it removed at this point. Joanne has suggested we allow 2 weeks. Is that what you're proposing? So that would.
Yes, noting, I will say a color commentary noting that we are moving into the summertime. It might be difficult to get contractors out to do work. 2 weeks is a more reasonable time, in my opinion.
Okay, so accounting for today, not counting from tomorrow, 2 weeks would be the 28th of May. Does that seem suitable to everybody? Okay, so I think we need to make and therefore after that, issue fines of $100 a day. is being a first offense. And yeah, if the fence is not removed by May 28th, on May 29th, Alex, we would direct our agent to start issuing $100 a day fines until it is removed and to issue a stop work order. Does that sound right? Anybody have any comments on that? Okay, so if we could have a motion to direct Alex to issue an enforcement order for the removal of the fence by May 28th with, if the fence is still in place on May 29th, that he will issue $100 a day fines and an enforcement order, a stop work order for the property.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Janet,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay. Moving on, next up, next we have a notice of intent filed by Nathan Nickerson and Susan Buckley. Applicant proposes to install, you know what, before we move on this, if nobody objects, I'd like to just take a 2-minute recess.
Okay.
Okay. So it is 6:52 and we'll be back at 6:54. Okay. Okay, thank you for your patience. We are back. Next up on our agenda is a notice of intent filed by Nathan Nickerson and Susan Buckley. Applicant proposes to install a seasonal dock at property located at 30 Adams Way, map 11, parcel 187A. And I believe we have Jason Ellis.
Yeah, for the
for
record,
this.
Jason Ellis, again representing Nathan Nickerson and Susan Buckley. So what they wish to do is install a seasonal dock. The dock that they've selected is a prefab aluminum dock. It comes in 10-foot sections. They're 10 feet long and 4 feet wide. They'd like to go out 80 feet and then put in an L on the end of the dock, which would be another 20 feet in length. It's really shallow where they are, so at the end of the 80 feet, they're about almost 3.5 feet deep at that point. Would just like to have enough depth so that if their grandkids jump off the dock, they won't break an ankle or a leg, and be able to tie a boat up to it without having it be on the ground. The dock would be removed in the fall and put up close to the house outside the buffer zone every season, reinstalled again in the spring, and it can be installed with just several laborers could carry each section down and could connect it in with just waders on. They could wade out and put the systems in. They have aluminum posts that go down into like about a 12 by 12 inch foot. So, and they're all adjustable with a sut screw, so they'll be able to put in each section individually. I'd be happy to answer any questions and any concerns that you might have, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so let me ask if you read our freshwater dock regulations before you made this filing.
I have, yep.
Okay, so our regulations call for a dock of no more than 100 square feet, and you have proposed a 440 square foot dock.
Yep.
Our dock regulations have a limit of 25 feet in length or at 2.5 feet of depth, whichever is shorter. And your dock is certainly not 25 feet.
Correct.
And I could just go through the thing piece by piece, but it is not in alignment with any of our freshwater dock regulations.
So I take that as you would like to see this comply 100% with your dock regulations?
It doesn't comply with any of our dock regulations. So I think I would like to see you resubmit with something that does tick those boxes off.
Okay.
And not something that is 4.4 times as big.
Okay.
And we need to also have information about the landward approach to the dock and the impacts of the dock on the surrounding area. And I note that this area is heavily used by boaters and fishermen, and it sticks out a very long way at that location.
Yep.
So I'm gonna see if other commissioners have any comments and questions. Anybody? Janet?
I would be very pleased if our freshwater dock regulations were read and adhered to. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Alex, anything?
I know we, excuse me, we discussed the potentially open orders that are on the property.
Right.
Which I need to look into more myself, so I can't speak to those at the moment, but I need to look into. There's, I think, 1 or 2 open orders.
Right, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. There is a open order of conditions that hasn't been closed out that was in response to a violation and an enforcement order, and that has not been submitted for a certificate of compliance. And it affects the area where the landward side of the dock. So I think we would like to see that addressed before we might want to consider permitting a dock.
And that was from 2020, is that right, Karen?
2020.
2020, yeah.
At the time,
Permit Extension Act might take up.
the house was also being constructed.
Yeah, the tolling, yeah.
So let me ask Jason, when would you like us to continue this matter to?
Could we please continue till the next scheduled meeting?
The next scheduled meeting would be May 27th.
That would be
And you would have to submit materials, I believe, by the 22nd.
That's fine.
Okay. if we could have a motion to continue to May
Karen,
27th?
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, sure. Go
In
ahead.
some of the notes, I noted, did you want to talk about a statement of impact? Because if they're coming to us again in 2 weeks, I don't know if they're able to provide us an analysis on that.
That would be in the dock regulations. So if they go through and tick off all the boxes as they went through, that should be addressed.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, so if we might have a motion to continue to May 27th.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to continue to May 27th then.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, Janet?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks, Jason. Okay, next up we have a notice of intent filed by Christina Phillip. Applicant proposes to raise and replace a single-family dwelling on the same foundation and a septic system upgrade at property located at 155 Bridge Road, map 20, parcel 061. Okay, Daniel?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, and if you could just identify yourself for the record.
For the record, my name is, it's going to lower my hand automatically. That's lovely. Dan Ojala, I'm a land surveyor and also a civil engineer, and with Down Cape Engineering in Yarmouthport, and helping Christina Phillip out with fixing up this sort of derelict property. You may be aware it's on Bridge Road. It had a major fire and it was really in poor condition. The site is somewhat overgrown with invasive locust trees and it's in pretty poor disrepair. So the proposal here is to, give it a shave and a haircut. We're going to come in with a new septic system. It has a non-compliant septic. We're introducing a new innovative alternative septic system to knock down the nitrogen. It's one of the best available nitrogen reducing technology systems that the DEP is one of the two that they've pushed lately. So we're doing that. We're doing the best we can with the effluent. We're mounding it up. You can see in the neighborhood there's a few other mounded systems. Currently with the groundwater adjustment, we do need a bit of a mound out in the front. Let me share my screen, I guess, if I can do that. Yep, it looks like I was set up. So there's the screen with the site plan as proposed. So we've got Bridge Road to the east. There's a bordering vegetated wetland to the west. Paul Shea of Independent Environmental had delineated that for us. Interestingly, it cuts just underneath a small deck in the back. The decks are elevated up off the ground, and the wetland plants do creep up under that a little bit. But it's the house is quite old. What we'd like to do is to bring it into compliance with the flood zone regulations. Anytime that you do work on an older site, you have to take a look at if you're doing more than 50% of the value, you have to upgrade it and make it compliant with the new FEMA regulations. The building code mandates that. And so to that end, we're lowering the grade in the back a little bit to match the the walkout basement grade. Right now there's one door, but the rest of it needs to be lowered. You need a whole side to be at or below the slab elevation so the water can go in and go back out. And then we're introducing flood vents along that side and one on the other corner. To do that, you can see on the north and the south, we've swaled the grades a little bit. And then, of course, you've got the elevated system as far as we can go away from the wetland out in the front. You can see the 100-foot buffer. We're just about 100 with the far end of the leaching and 68 or so with the close end. A couple of those trees need to come down. Again, they're locusts, which are non-native, but there's a 21-inch and a couple other big ones out front there that were in the area where the septic really wants to go. So those will go down. There's also in the back a big oak and locust that are really crowding the garage, and it's a bit of a safety issue there, as trees do, growing to reach the light and air over the roof, and it's those would have to come down. So again, we're trying to reuse the existing foundation, save a little bit of money. Just as of interest, the inn owners across the street are the ones that have bought this and trying to upgrade it to improve the area and for a little bit of housing for themselves to help out with the inn. So they're doing what we think is a good job. Very slight bump out in the front. You can see that dark line there, a small addition. And because we're losing all the basement space, they are putting some upper level on it. But again, the footprint is basically unchanged. The hardscape, you can see from the calculations in the 0 to 50, where it's a slight increase, or it's 88 square foot, and then the 50 and 100 a little bit more because of the work that we're doing outside of the 50 with the drive and the septic and so forth. But fairly modest, and we're balancing that with almost 300 square foot of mitigation. We've chosen swamp rose and planted it right along the edge of the wetland in the back to try and enhance that buffer and mitigate against a slight increase in hardscape. There'll be a few variances from the Board of Health, but again, under what they call maximum feasible compliance, we're doing the best that we can with what we have, and that can include the introduction of innovative alternative technology. So that's what we're doing. There's a good-sized leaching trench to push all the roof runoff that had previously gone back into the ground out front. It'll be all piped into the front, into that large leaching trench. So swaling to make the FEMA flood zone compliant, some plantings in the back. They're going to redo those decks. They're not even going to touch the ground. It's the same posts and so forth as what's there, the same footings as what's there for the house. So not too much ground impact. There's notes to revegetate with native species, the sloped areas, and again, a couple 300 square foot of mitigation plantings in the back to offset. So as I mentioned, the inn across the street, they're hoping to have the dwelling be part of their business in terms of living there and having help live there, depending on how it works out. But residential use only. But clean it up again, shaving a haircut, make it a nicer property, and be a little bit less impactful on the wetland. There's no additional bedrooms, but we are putting in a nitrogen reducing system, pressure dosed, IA, and I think it'll be a nice improvement for the environment. Town water connection, and again, no adverse effects are expected. The work limit will remain staked in place, and the mitigation plantings will provide additional wildlife habitat and buffer along the edge of the BVW. So there's additional information in the filing. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you do have them. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask those who are out at the site visit if they want to start off, and then I'll come back to myself. Anybody? Greg?
Yeah, we had a question about the extra deck that's overlying the vegetative wetland. Is there any chance that that could be removed from the plan? The little deck, the little part, not the.
Yeah. I did ask the owners about that because it is unusual to cantilever out over a wetland. And they, they hope to leave it there, but if the consensus of the majority of the board is that it isn't, it's, again, we're not touching the ground, and because it's a, kind of a southern exposure-ish, the light does get under it, but it would, I guess, shade under the other deck, so more than it would without it. So we if the majority feels it should go, we'll certainly take that into careful consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, Janet?
Yes, we noticed that the trees which they plan to remove are not marked, and I'd like them to be tagged so that we know exactly which trees will be removed. Also, I know the locusts are not native, but we did happen to see a couple that had several nesting cavities in them, plus mushrooms. And it might be nice if the one that had the most nesting cavities, at least, could remain. So those are two of the comments that I had. Thank you.
Anybody else from the commission? Okay. Can I ask who EMR Laptop is? Are you the property owner? I see your hand up. I don't want to, if it's the property owner, I'll let you speak now.
We're the property owner. We're not EMR Laptop. We're over here.
Okay, so EMR Laptop is not, okay.
I think that's Earl Mountain Room, Karen.
Oh, okay, so Earl.
I do have one
okay.
question.
All right, you go first and then Earl.
And then whatever happened to the laptop. Maybe it's monitoring it. I should go ahead?
Yes, you should go
Okay.
ahead.
I wanted to say, I agree that I'm not so keen on the cantilever deck. I will also note, on one hand, I think it's great that we're turning a burned dwelling into a usable dwelling, and noting that the purpose that the owners are stating to perhaps use it for their business or for housing for staff is also a fantastic idea. But with that, I do think we should try to have a full buffer, like shrubs or stones or something across the entire back of near the resource area, especially because it is so close, so that if there are folks coming and going from that dwelling who are not familiar with our bylaws or with the fact that there's a resource right almost up to the dwelling, that there is a very clear visual barrier for them, so that nobody runs afoul of any of the rules.
But it should be good for now.
But I asked through the chair, was the suggestion on that to put like a single rail fence or just plantings that would kind of self-identify?
Joanne?
I'm happy to see whatever you and the owners might propose. Certainly, I think plantings would be fine with me as long as they were thick enough so folks couldn't go wandering back there easily. But I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, yeah, I think the swamp rose might defer people just by itself.
Yeah.
So, Christina Phillip, do you want to respond, I guess, to the deck question?
Well, we just wanted to clarify that, hi, we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Christina. This is my husband, Steve. And so the purpose of this is that we would be living in it. It would be our personal residence. So there would be no strangers. It would never become a weekly rental. The space that we occupy now at the inn would then be a possibility for work housing for those that we employ here at the inn. But no workers would be living at that residence. So it would just be ourselves and our 2 children.
Thank you.
So I think as a compromise, we could certainly propose to spread those plantings out along the perimeter of the wetland rather than clump them so much, and maybe add a couple more up to like 310 square foot. And then the trees are all well shown on the existing conditions and proposed conditions, but would be glad to tag them if the board feels that's needed. They're all individually located and shown to be removed, but we could tag them in the field if that's helpful.
Mike?
Yes, I just wanted to talk about the trees. I know the locust is not considered native, but it is serving a purpose. As Janet mentioned, we saw nesting holes in a couple of them. So the list on my plans, it says the vegetation will be revegetated with approved native species. We need to know what they are. Oh, here they are. Never mind. But it's just swamp rose. I'd like to see some trees replaced. Once you flag them, we'll know if it's 6 or 8 locusts, but these are substantial trees. So I think we need to have some canopy species put back, not just swamp rose. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Mike. So I agree with Mike on the trees. We need to get a count on what's getting removed and also to see some replacement trees. For that, I agree with the previous comments about the smaller deck. And I have questions about the flood requirements. I know you said you're complying with FEMA, but I believe that the state adopted the 10th state building code in January, and it changed the requirements for elevation in a flood zone.
Yeah, it's, they bumped it back to the end of June, I think July 1st, the 10th edition kicks in. And you're right, that did change a few things, but in a still water flooding zone like this, all it did was add another foot to the design flood elevation. And we're conceding that we're not using that basement. It's just going to be cold storage. And the first floor is elevated well above the flood zone up at 15. And the flood zone is 13. So yeah, it's again, it requires the first floor to be, I believe now 2 feet above the base flood. So they call it the design flood. So it'd be 15, and our foundation is 14.7. So the first floor will be okay even with the new code. So that's the good news. And then we'll just have flood vents so the waters go in and leave the basement. But we'll have some additional space upstairs, luckily, to balance.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that it got pushed again to July.
It's my understanding, yeah. Well, you know what? It's a period of reciprocity, so you can file under either code until July. That's what it is, yeah. So,
Oh, I thought you could file under either code till January, but I don't follow this closely, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
they kept bumping it and bumping it. Yeah, it's confusing. But it's my understanding it's June is the final.
Okay. I think though it might make sense to try to comply with that now as it tries to
Oh yeah, no, we
address.
will. That my
Yeah.
bottom line of my rambling is we'll be okay. Because
Okay,
the
'cause
first floor is almost 15.7, so it'll be well above the 2 feet. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Alex, anything from you?
I'll mention that we did look at the wetland delineation, and that does appear to be accurate as depicted on the plan.
Okay. So it sounds like what we're looking for is more details about the tree and planting plan, and especially around the deck area. Daniel, does that correspond to what you heard from the commission?
Yes, my notes are that we're going to spread those plantings out an even row, and I don't think we should go into the woods, obviously, but wherever there's lawn or disturbance, we'll expand that buffer. We'll call out a couple of trees on the slope and specify with more detail the slope restoration, New England erosion control mix, and so forth. Maybe some wildflower mix. And then we'll detail the trees it's a very busy plan, I apologize, but every individual one is called out, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be removed, but we'll tag them in the field and make that a little bit clearer in the revised plan. That's my notes. If I missed anything, be glad to add to it.
I think that covers everything. So it looks like we'll need a continuance. Would the next meeting be okay? That would be May 27th.
Yeah, we can get it done in a week for that. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so we might have a motion to continue to May 27th.
So moved.
And a second?
Second,
Okay, Janet,
yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
and I am a yes. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next up, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Gary Vecchione. Applicant proposes to install a new subsurface sewage disposal system, a new water service installation, and electrical lines on property located at 150 State Highway, map 20, parcel 114. And I believe that's Laura. Would come, oh, no, she's away. So Anthony, that would be you again?
Yes, I'm up again. I think from our last hearing on this, the only thing that we're really waiting for was the Mass DEP number to issue that's now been issued. Laura sent over that information about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. Sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head, the time frame of it. But I think that was the only thing that we're waiting for. Now that we've received it, we should be good to go. Happy to answer any questions, but I think at the last hearing, we had Laura answer all the questions that were necessary for this to issue.
Right, and we got an updated plan that removes the plumbing to the garage and shows the 6 cedar trees.
Correct.
Okay, any questions from the commission? Anybody? No. Okay. I just lost my notes for a second. If you hold on while I pull them back up again. Okay. So let's see, here we go. All right. I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. Sorry. I got a little lost there. Too much paper in some of these meetings. Okay. Here we go. So, right. So that's all we were waiting for. And DEP number, the cedar trees. Okay. So if we might have a motion to approve with special conditions for 150 State Highway.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay. Joanne?
yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Did I get Janet?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm a yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. Next up, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Cape Hidden Realty Trust. Applicant proposes to construct a new family dwelling, a property located at 339 Dire Prince Road, map 19, parcel 111. And David?
Good evening, Karen, members of the board. We provided, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We provided you with a revised site plan with a smaller dwelling, now located landward of the 50-foot buffer to the salt marsh and outside of the inner Cape Cod Bay ACEC. Since our last meeting, we received the DEP file number and a comment letter from NHESP, and as expected, they are requiring a turtle protection plan for review prior to the commencement of any work at this site. I was involved with most of the development of Keene Way, which is down the road on the right after this, and we prepared several turtle protection plans for those sites. Interestingly enough, they mentioned Diamondback terrapin, but all we ever found were eastern box turtles. But that being said, we would certainly comply with that. I believe the two remaining issues now are, one, a mitigation planting plan, and then two, more importantly, the granting of a variance from your regulations for ACECs for the installation of a pervious driveway to access the upland portion of the site where the dwelling is proposed. I think this, as I mentioned before, this property is assessed as buildable. It's assessed for $500,000. And this project hinges on the fact that a variance from your regulations for ACECs would be required to build a house here. So at this point, I don't want to get into mitigation or things like that, but I think it's kind of important for both you and for me and the applicants and the owners to know if you would consider a variance for constructing a driveway which would require grading and filling from going from Dire Prince Road to the upland portion of the site. Because if you don't, I believe that would be considered a taking. I don't know what that means, but I think it's important for both the owners of the property and the applicants that would like to build a house here on the property. So I'm trying not to waste your time and our time. I think I'd like to hear from the commission as to how you would receive a variance request from your ACEC regulations to access this site. Because if you don't grant a variance, I believe that the site's not buildable, and that would be considered a taking. So that being said, those are my comments. I'm just trying to work this out for all parties involved, and I'd be happy to entertain any comments or questions or concerns.
Okay, well, let's start with that. You've brought up this variance request here at the hearing instead of submitting something with your filing. And it's not usual for us to consider things at the last minute.
Karen, I'm not suggesting you consider it at the last minute, but I'm suggesting that you let me know whether you would entertain it. This is a difficult project. It's a difficult site, and I would like to know if it's worthwhile to keep pursuing this or not.
Okay. Well, I had some other issues, but let me see if anybody has any comments on that. And anybody? Joanne, and then Chuck, you're next.
Oh, I was going to say I will take the bait, Karen.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Can you get a little bit louder still?
Yeah, I think I have my hand over my mic. In all honesty. So I think maybe first things first, I appreciate that you've raised the variance now. I myself, before opining on it, would like to familiarize myself with what we're talking about. And maybe we have time to do that while we're waiting for the report back on the turtles. So maybe we take it one step at a time. And now that we've flagged the ACEC issue, the commissioners can have time to consider it before really diving into the mechanics of a variance. I know that sounds like it might be punting it a little bit, but I myself would prefer to have some time to educate myself more thoroughly on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck?
Okay, so just from the outset, of course, we need to see the plan, we need to understand materials, but in this specific case, I have no overt problem with permitting a pervious driveway in there. It's going to have to meet certain performance standards, I'm sure, but you're talking about upland to upland. There may be some minor ups and downs going in there, but I'm not bothered by the idea of issuing a variance for this myself, but I would want to see the plan first.
Of course.
Janet?
I would want to see the plan first also. And I did have a thought that some of our areas have changed because of a rise in sea level. And it may be possible that this land would be considered by the town at this point as non-billable. Maybe it would have to be classified, reclassified, not as a buildable site, but as a non-buildable site, which wouldn't be taxable.
I believe, Janet, if I may, I believe the process that we are going through is how that is determined. The assessor's office values this at $500,000. And the town is not going to change that. But should a project like this be denied, that's how the town finds out that a property is not buildable. It's a process that we have to go through. It's awkward for me. It's awkward for the applicants, but it's something that we need to do. What I can say is that the turtle protection plan is very straightforward. I've done them with Wilkinson ecological design. I've done them with Blue Flax design. That's easy. The bigger issue is that this is going to require variance from your regulations, and I'm ready to take it to that next step. But I wanted to this evening, if you'll go permit me, to see if you're willing to consider that variance. That's where I'm at right now.
So I had flagged the parking area in my notes for today to discuss that, but you also provide no information, details on what you mean by pervious and what materials will be used. So I think overall that your lack of detail in this filing is going to be delaying any determination here.
Of course.
Because you didn't last time you came in with a plan that had a house in the ACEC, which we wouldn't allow, and our regulations were pretty clear. And this week, you don't come in with mitigation or you bring up the idea of a variance now, and I have issues with that. But and we would like to definitely would want to see a turtle plan, but I also think this plan does not actually include, it doesn't comply with regulations. We have a regulation, section 4A, 1, climate change integration, that requires the applicant to consider the project's adaptation to potential climate change impacts, and gives a list of things that need to be included and addressed in the filing, and you haven't done that. We have the ACEC, and you moved the house back into the ACEC buffer zone, but the driveway is and the parking area is still in the ACEC with pervious materials that are not described. You haven't done a mitigation plan or even given us an inventory of the trees that are going to come down. All you have is some kind of eco lawn going in. And, you know, so we don't have enough details, to my mind, to properly evaluate this project. Looking at the flood information and the sea level rise information from the state MC firm strongly suggests that this property is likely to transition to a V zone from the AE, and so that's a concern. I had a concern about the building height of the lowest structural member, which you don't actually include on the plan. Here you have top of foundation at 14. I'd like to know a little more about that. And yeah, so I don't know if
it's not a V zone. With all due
no,
respect,
it's an AE zone, but looking at the flood models and sea level rise predictions, it seems like it's likely in the not too distant in the future to transition to a V zone. So we do ask in the climate change part of our filing requirements that you look at these things and talk about those possible impacts.
Okay, and I fully appreciate that, Karen, and I will do that. But the reason I did not do much more was because a variance is required for this project, and there's a standard for that. And based on your comments, I would probably request to withdraw this project, but I need to hear from all the other commissioners, and I could go through the non-compliant regulations, the climate change impacts, mitigation and tree inventory, pervious driveway type. We did raise the top of foundation a foot at the request of one of your commissioners at the last meeting, but I'm trying to be respectful of you and my clients to determine if it's worth my time to go through everything you just asked me to do, Karen.
Right, but
I know that's an awkward request, but I think it's reasonable of me to ask that.
Yeah, but I don't know how respectful it is to come to the commission first with a plan that we absolutely can't approve because it conflicts with our ACEC regulations, and then to come back with another plan. And I know we asked about mitigation and some of that during the last hearing, and we didn't get into a bunch of other stuff because you were relocating the house, which resets the conversation. But you've come to us a second time without a complete plan here.
Okay.
And now you want us to
I'm hearing you loud and clear. So
okay.
I will come back with all these comments that you've addressed. And but hearing your comments, I don't think you believe this is an approvable plan.
I don't.
That's what I was trying to get at with the rest of your commissioners this evening.
Right. So let's see if anybody else wants to.
There's a lot of time and money that goes into continuations and engineering and things like that.
Right. But there's less time and money if you bring us all the information.
Well,
the basic information from the beginning, maybe. But let me ask the other commissioners if anybody wants to weigh in here. We've heard from Joanne. We've heard from Chuck. How about Mike?
I'm with you on this. I think that the driveway was known from the beginning that it needs a special permit. It was a no-go from the start. Also, we noticed the rack line almost up to the driveway where the driveway is now. We walked in the lower area here going towards the driveway. So there was a rack line almost at the letter 8, which is almost right on top of the driveway. So I would have to see some kind of plans that this is going to flood out. I would say no at this point, but I haven't seen the new plan.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Greg, anything from you?
No, I would have to spend a little more time looking at that on the ACEC issue. I have to see more information at this point.
Joanne?
All right, I promise I'm not covering my mic this time with my hand, but I pulled up the standards, and I think what this comes down to is if the applicant thinks that they can overcome what's stated in the performance standards, I would welcome the opportunity to consider a variance, honestly. I mean, it seems like it's a little high. It talks about that the project needs to demonstrate that the land, if it's, we presume, I'm just looking at it, we presume that land is significant to one or more of the environmental values listed in Massachusetts general law. So the applicant has to overcome that presumption by demonstrating it is not significant to those values or interests. And then if they can't do that, the project has to show that there is no adverse effect on the wetlands values and interests. So I am very open to looking at an analysis and a project. And if those standards are met to agreeing to the project, the idea of a variance is a little bit different than offering information and a project to demonstrate that those standards are met, right? So just want to point that out. But like Chuck said, I'm happy to entertain you know, a well thought out plan that can either overcome these standards or potentially a variance, although that is different than what we'd be talking about according to the standards in the bylaws. And you guys probably already know this. I'm kind of stating it here for everyone who's not an expert and for the record. But like Chuck, I am open to considering either, looking at the standards or a variance, provided we have all the information. That was very long-winded. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments, and I think I'm getting the information that I needed, and I apologize if I've taken up your time this evening, but it's an awkward project, and I need to bring these comments back to the applicant and the owner.
Anybody, Janet, you can comment.
Well, I really appreciate Joanne's comments. And Mike's and everyone else. I concur to a certain degree. I have questions because several issues were not addressed, and I'd like to see a plan and have them addressed. And another issue that I don't think has been brought up is when we were out there this morning, we saw many, many trees that might have to come down, and the trees weren't marked, which you're considering removing. And some of them look like they might even qualify to be heritage trees. So
Okay.
I don't think I can make a decision without having all the information, and there's a lot of information that's missing.
Thank you, Janet, and thank you, Karen and Commission. I think I've accomplished what I've needed to do this evening, and I appreciate your time. I understand it was not a complete application, and I would like to request a 2-week continuance to provide you with the information. I've taken copious notes, and I'll try and do my best.
Okay, and any other questions? Alex, anything from you?
No, nothing from me. I think the commission's been clear on as to what they requested.
Okay, so if we could have a motion to continue to May 27th.
So moved.
Second,
wait,
the second.
there's a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Carol Zaglio.
Yeah, I do have a question and an observation, and I'm not sure either are appropriate, but.
Okay, if you could just identify yourself for the record.
I'm Carol Zaglio. I am the sole abutter with my husband to this particular lot. We are on the Great American Flyway, and this area is filled with birds and pollinators all the time, especially at this time of year. So that's one thing that I think many trees coming down would affect. And the other thing that I'm asking is, appraisals just mushroom here on this road. And I was shocked to hear $500,000, but yes, indeed, the appraisal value has gone up. But, maybe this family would consider doing what other families on this road with highly sensitive properties have done and donated this to land preservation.
Good
Thank
idea.
Okay, so any other comments from anybody? Okay, so we can have a motion to continue this to May 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Janet?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay, David, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, let's see. Next up, we have continuation of notice of intent filed by Bernard and Diane Durante. Applicant proposes a pier, ramp, and float for private boating access at 255 Mary Chase Road, map 18, parcel 80A.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, I'm Mark Burgess with Shorefront Consulting. And I believe Mr. Durante is online somewhere. And so at the last hearing, we went through the entire design, the elements. We have a file number. We had comments from DMF I believe the only thing that we were waiting for was a shellfish survey by the town, which was performed. I have a copy of it here. And if I just read the first paragraph, it says that it's a low density, low to moderate density of quahogs. And I would say in a brief overview that the amount of shellfish that they found in the areas that they found them is fairly concurrent with our independent survey. So if with that, oh, and the one issue was the float size, and the applicant and I have discussed it. And he is prepared to reduce the size of the float from 10 by 24 to 10 by 20. And I believe that covers the items that we were up for discussion. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, I think the other items up for discussion were the length of the dock in relation to the navigation channel and the impact on recreational boating out there.
Yes, I met with three people out there. One was Linda, and I don't have the other names. I did meet with them, and I discussed more so of the design. We walked the site. I was out there like an hour or so. We had a great conversation. Their concern was to have to travel seaward of the boat out in the channel. And while I disagree with that, I still believe that there is plenty of room for them to go under the dock, either at low tide and certainly high tide, with the pile spacing being 30 feet and such, or 20 feet at the end. That's average docks are, some of them are 12, 14, 16 feet between piles. So 20-foot span is a lot of room to work with. Having said all that, there is a mooring field in front of this dock. So in my opinion, they're not in any danger if they choose to travel through the mooring field. They're not in any danger of a boat running into them because it's a mooring field. So in a way, the project offers its own protection against those, for those boaters. But anyway, we had a good conversation. I met them in person, and that's what we discussed.
Okay, so we did ask our harbor master to go take a look, and he has not been able to get out there yet. And we've also been approached by the harbor master of Orleans, who has concerns about the project, and they'd like to both go out and do some analysis of the placement in relation to the channel out there, because they're preliminary. They think there might be an issue with that, and with boats small boats having to go around it and be in the channel during the busy parts of summer. Alex, if you want to jump in on this.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that the harbor master did make it out to the site, but had a hard time locating where the terminus of that float is going to be. So I was wondering if there's a way for the end of the float to be demarcated more clearly, so that the harbor master can get eyes on that and have a better idea as to the proximity of the end of the dock to the channel, because I think that is the main concern currently between the Eastham harbor master and the Orleans harbor master as well.
Okay, yeah, there's two ways that I've staked out docks before. I tend to use the PVC pipe because it's fixed, it doesn't move around. Most towns just ask for a buoy. In this case, the current simply is too strong for me to keep a PVC pipe there. At least it's not there. So it left. And I don't want to waste the time trying to put another one out there. So I would offer two suggestions. I can either meet the harbor master with my kayak and paddle out and show him physically where the end of the dock is with a measuring tape, or I can put a cement block with like a gallon jug as a float. Now, bear in mind that moves around at low tide. It's going to swing around a little bit, so it's not as accurate, but it'll give them a general idea. And remember that the float is sited on the edge of the channel. I don't want to go any further landward because we reduce the depths to points that I don't want to reduce the depths to. So we're off the side of the channel, and with the mooring field in front, I don't understand why there's any navigation issue, and certainly from Orleans, they're across the way. I'm not quite understanding that, but I'm happy to oblige if that's what we need to do. Could I ask that the harbor master contact me so that I can meet him there when he's there, and I'll bring a block with me and I can drop it in the kayak, or I can just be out there in my kayak with a measuring tape?
Yeah, perhaps it's best for us to follow up after this meeting, and
Sure.
We could set up a site visit and continue this conversation with the harbor master.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Okay. Anything from the commission? Mike?
Are there marine plans for this that shows the channel? The existing, when you get a boat, you have plans that show the depth, shows where the channel is. It's hard for me to visualize how far away I don't know, and I don't know how shallow the Orleans side is. I assume if it mirrors our side, it's kind of shallow, so it'd be helpful to know where the channel is in relation to the dock ending. And I assume there are charts out there somewhere already done. I don't know, but
I don't know either. Our survey went out 200 feet, and 200 feet out, which is another, hold on, which is about 45 feet out from the outer edge of the float as positioned, and the water depth there at low tide is 8 feet. And with the grade on the plan, if you look at the green line, it's still getting deeper. I guess one possible way to maybe figure it out is zoom out on Google Earth and see if you can see it. Oh, it
didn't work.
No?
Yeah.
No. So I'm not sure what to tell you. Maybe the harbor master has
I don't know.
diagram that shows where the channel. I mean, unless it's a federally dredged or like permitted channel,
Right.
there's not going to be much documentation on it, I don't think. But
Right, there doesn't seem to be an official US chart for town code, because I did a deep dive looking for one.
Okay.
No.
All right, then meeting
But-
with the harbor master will be a good thing. Okay, that's all I got.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna mention that we did receive another 4 letters from abutters. Most of the comments relate to concerns about the dock length and encroaching into channel and recreation access for kayaking, and safety concerns of having to go out and around the dock, especially in the busy part of summer. There were also concerns about the shiny nature of the aluminum dock, and those letters will be entered into the official record and are available if anybody wishes to see them by contacting the conservation office, and we'll make sure, Mark, you get a copy of them as well.
thank you. Yeah,
and
that was one of the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That was one of the questions that they posed, was how shiny is the aluminum? And one of the women that I spoke to had gone down to look at the other dock. So my response to that was, it's a little shiny at first, but it oxidizes like anything, and it won't be shiny, for long. I suppose you could go out there with a green scrubby pad and buff it up a little bit. Those are minor things, but in general, it's not a searchlight, but they are a little bright at first, and then they oxidize. And help me understand. So one of the only ways to put a boat, well, I guess anyway, the dock kind of has to be, the float has to be in the channel. There's no other place that there's water depth. So having it extend into the channel is a given. as is with almost any dock along this part of the shoreline. So help me understand. Well, I mean, it's sort of, I hate to use the expression, but it is what it is. You know, we want a certain amount of water depth around the float. It's better for less impacts to shellfish if there's shellfish there and things like that. So, and the grade is pretty steep, so it gets deep quickly and then it continues to get deep. I mean, 8 feet is a godsend for most boaters. I don't know how wide it is. I'm not sure how I can figure that out unless I run a tape with my kayak across the channel, and that's probably not a good idea. Then I'm having a hard time understanding. So dock regulations, when they speak about navigation, they talk about, I mean, boats. In 25 years of doing this, I've never seen regulations or jurisdictions that address kayakers. And kayakers, you know, they paddle around marinas, they paddle in tight conditions. It's quite common. And this dock takes up less room with less span. So I'm not understanding the concern or whether it's even in the commission's jurisdiction.
Well, our bylaw does include recreation in our jurisdiction.
I see. Okay. Well, either way, I still contend that there's plenty of room to go into the dock at any tide, and the mooring field protects the boaters on the outside, which is unique to this installation. So those are both good things. They have all the protection they need.
Okay. Then hearing from the harbor master will either give us new information or confirm what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is my opinion as a designer, and having this is the vast majority of my work is new docks, and we've done them. I've done, you know, all up and down Bass River, yada yada yada, you know, but in much tighter situations than this. And I've never had a kayaker come up and even comment. So just relating my 25 years experience. That's all.
Yes, but if docks protruded into navigation channels routinely, that would impact the ability of boats to transverse the channel.
Perhaps, but if it's a mooring field, no one's traversing there. They'd be downright crazy to go through it unless they were at slow speed to maneuver to moor. That is unique for this situation.
Okay. Tom, you're the property owner and you wish to add something to this?
I'm a property owner. I'm a neighbor down the coast.
Okay. I'm not right up to abutters yet. Okay. Anything else from the commission? Okay. All right. Now I'm going to open this up to abutters. I would request that if have already spoken, that we've all heard, and you submitted letters. We've read the letters. We heard what you said at the last meeting. So if you could stick to hopefully any new comments you want to make. And I'm going to give each of you a time limit of 2 minutes. So if you also introduce yourself, and I'm going to start with actual abutters first. And if you could introduce yourself, give the address. And Tom, are you not a direct abutter, Tom? Okay. Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Arlene Levin, 300 Mary Chase Road. And I have a brief comment, and that is, as a new Eastham resident, I wanted to just thank the members of the commission for their service. But I was thinking about how hard it must be to evaluate new and major renovation dock projects without a set of criteria specified in a regulation to guide you. And I assume the commission came to a similar conclusion and decided to draft a regulation on saltwater docks and piers. I guess I would like to recommend that the commission impose a moratorium on new and major renovation dock projects until such time as the commission establishes the regulations so that these projects can be evaluated comprehensively and fairly. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other abutters? Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to add some context to, I'm sorry. Tom Gerhard, 385 Mary Chase Road. We are 3 properties to the south along the cove from the Durantes. Context about why there's so much interest by kayakers here is that this particular spot is a choke point on Town Cove. The Orleans side is very shallow, and the powerboat traffic that passes by here basically comes right along the edge of the mooring field, almost to the point where looking at it from the shore, you wonder, how they're not hitting the boats in the mooring field. And so it's on a weekend, on a nice summer weekend, being out there in a kayak feels a little bit like being a pedestrian on Route 6. And that's why the concern about being able to navigate kayaks safely out of the channel.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Now, the harbor masters had said that they need some time to get out there, so they requested that we could continue until, I'm sorry, Gail? You wish to comment, Gail?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I know Mark mentioned.
If you would please state your full name and address, please.
Sure. Gail Brown, 335 Mary Chase Road. Mark had indicated that he thought the mooring field protected kayakers. My question does have to do with the mooring field, and we currently have a mooring that's based out there. There are 8 other moorings located. My understanding is that where the dock is going to go is going to disrupt some of the current placements of the mooring. So my guess is the harbor master will have to ask us to move those moorings because the dock will be within too close a proximity of those moorings. So I would ask if the harbor master could also give us some clarification about how far moorings have to be relocated from the dock structure and what mooring configuration he envisions with the proposed dock.
Alex, you want to jump in there for a second? Because I know you talked about that with Scott.
Yeah, I did talk to Scott regarding moving moorings. He mentioned that has been done before, but we didn't get into the specifics as to how that would work for this scenario. So we could certainly follow up with Scott.
Thank you.
About that. Yep. Thank you, Gail.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Last call for comments? Okay. So anything else you'd like to say, Mark?
No, I think a lot of things for your board will be clearer after we meet with the harbor master, so I look forward to that. But I do want to definitely be there when he's there, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think you and Alex can work that out with the harbor master outside of the meeting. So thank you for being patient with us. We appreciate it. Okay, so if we might have a motion to continue this to June 10th.
Hold on. Let me check my phone, please.
Okay. Yes,
my-
we don't want to schedule a meeting you can't come to.
Oh, that's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Well, not yet. Maybe it'll be happy that night.
Well, I hate having meetings on my birthday.
Well, at my age, to some extent, until you reach a decimal, it's just like any other day. Yeah. Okay, that's a Tuesday. So yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. So if we could have a motion to continue to June 10th.
Move to continue to June 10th.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Chuck?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So we'll see you in a few weeks and happy early birthday.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Okay, let's see. All right, and that continues, that ends our filings for tonight. So next up is April 22nd, 2025 minutes. And Amy sent those out today. Did you all have a chance to look at them? Any comments, corrections? Oh, sorry about that. Alarm's going off. Okay, no comments, no questions. So if we might have a motion to approve the April
Move to
22nd.
approve the April 22nd, 2025 minutes.
Second.
And is there a sec? Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Greg,
Yeah.
Joanne,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, and next we have any violations to update?
Yeah, I met with John O'Reilly and the property owners of 70 Log Cabin Road. If you recall, that was the property where there was an unpermitted gravel patio area that was installed. They are pursuing an after-the-fact notice of intent, and the commission can expect that to be on the June 10th agenda.
Okay, looks like June 10th is going to be quite busy, and so is May 27th. Okay, liaison reports. Mike?
We planted sweet pepper, you know, the second entrance to the beach. We have the fence, one we fenced in. There was another one a little bit north. That one we closed off. The DPW put up fencing. We planted sweet pepper by the water and winterberry to fill in the area. And then we also planted sweet fern and Pennsylvania sledge across this little path on the other side. And that's what we did. Looks
That's
good.
going to look really nice.
Yep,
Okay.
looks good.
Janet, want to update us on CPA?
No meetings yet. I think there's one in June or July, but not in May. There wasn't one in May.
Okay. Want to talk about the town meeting vote on CPA project?
We did have a very interesting town meeting. Oh, there were people who wanted to know what happened to the money that we had budgeted for certain projects. And I guess it's hard for people to follow all the meetings there are in town. But one of the easiest answers was the project has not been completed yet, so we couldn't pay for it because we weren't billed for it. And also, just before the town meeting, Jackie got a letter about the thrift store stating that the cost would increase significantly to shore up what was going to be the second apartment on the third floor area. So we withdrew that consideration. There'll just be one apartment, and that'll be on the second floor. So the cost will go down somewhat. And someone wanted to know why it was so expensive. And my thought was, well, that's why a lot of people tear down buildings, because they older buildings, and the older they are, sometimes the more expensive they are to renovate. But are we going to tear down the oldest building in Eastham, or are we going to preserve it? And it will cost to preserve it. So that was the thinking in the Community Preservation Committee when we voted for that. So now we're back to one apartment over the thrift store. And it passed. We're going to go ahead with that, but we haven't had a meeting since town meeting.
Okay. So, Open Space Committee meets next Wednesday. I don't have anything to update now, but I will at the next meeting. As I said at the top of this meeting, the Strategic Planning Committee will be holding 2 information sessions on May 22nd at the library. The first one starts at 4 and runs till 5:30. The second one starts at 5:30 and runs till 7. There will be childcare available so that parents can attend, and there will be some snacks and things for attendees and the kids. This is an opportunity to see what is basically the final plan and offer any last comments and ask questions. So I hope people will be able to attend. And the Strategic Planning Committee is not meeting again until towards the end of June. Okay, and then any education and training updates from anybody? Okay.
I have a tangential one, Karen.
Be my guest.
Hillary turned me on to MIHA seminars, which I think is Massachusetts Environmental Health. And tomorrow they have a really interesting seminar on ticks and tick-borne diseases. So not exactly front and center conservation, maybe the opposite, but if anyone's interested, since ticks seem to be the hot topic this summer, let me know and I can forward you the invitation. Tomorrow at noon.
Well, that relates to our other hat where we have
sort of.
care and custody of conservation areas. But yeah, that's good. Thank you. And let's see, finally, Eversource herbicide application letter. So yeah, so I guess they're looking for any comments from us on where they should not be spraying, and I know that quite a few people would say nowhere. But if you guys have had a look at it, if there's anywhere near water or vernal pools or something especially sensitive, we can send a letter to Eversource and point that out to them. Alex, anything on this?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if there's a date on the letter that they need to receive comment by, that we make that date.
I think they're going to work in June, right?
In that case, I would like to get a letter out sooner rather than later. So if commissioners could provide comment, if they choose, by the end of the week, I can get a drafted letter together and get that out as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else from anybody? Okay, so I'm going to say thank you, Hillary?
I just wanted to weigh in about special town meeting on June 23rd. For the wastewater, we've held 2 information sessions, one with the neighborhood, one for the general public. There's another one next Wednesday at the COA at 11:30, and then June 2nd as part of the regularly scheduled select board meeting. Those will be the big 4 meetings. Then following that, we're going to do sort of an office hour approach with Rich, Jackie, myself, and some of the consultants, where we'll just be available to answer questions. We've had a lot of questions coming in. I have a PowerPoint presentation to give to you. I think we decided at the next regularly scheduled meeting in June. So perhaps it's the first meeting in June, not the second meeting in May, right? That's what we decided?
Right, so yeah, the June 10th meeting where everything goes
The June
to
10th meeting. I think I might pare down the presentation just based on what I think our agenda is going to look like. So if you have specific questions before that time, just let me know and I can keep slides in and pull slides out based on what you're interested in. So
well, maybe you could share the whole deck and then pick out the key points you want to make, and maybe we can tell you which slides ahead of that we'd like you to
or
talk
just
about.
let me know what you're particularly interested in knowing, and I can just focus my time and energy there. So we're not at this till 10 o'clock at night because I'm just talking and talking and talking. So let me know what you're interested.
I will cut you off after. Let's see.
I have no
Paul has
doubt
gone
you'll
on,
put me in my place.
I think Paul managed to take 40 minutes.
Yes,
so-
no, I'm not going to take as long as Paul, I promise.
Okay, we give you a little more leeway because you're part of us. The
It's all good.
family the family rate for talking. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. If we could have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Chuck,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Yes.
Greg, Mike,
Yes.
Janet?
Yes, and thanks for your leadership tonight.
Oh, thank you. And I'm a yes.
Great.
Okay,
Thank-
good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.